So, if everything goes to plan, which it never ever does, by the time you guys are watching this, me and Millie will be down here at the bottom of the country, where you can see I've put this last known location from Tracker just here. And this is a very, very, very special place, because this is the place where the kakapo live. And hopefully this is the place where none of the rats live, which we can't tell you until we've actually been down there, and Millie has declared it pest-free. As usual, this is the reason why we can't be here broadcasting to you live, because this is an island, off an island, off an island, as always. And this is why it's very, very hard to actually be there to do a presentation live. So what I've decided this time is just like, I'm not even going to try. I'm not going to do a story map. I'm just going to bring up a whole heap of browser tabs, and I'm just going to tell you what I've been up to just by bringing up a whole heap of tabs and showing you what I've been doing. So basically my last 12 months has been not doing everything because I should, but maybe doing everything because I could. I had this prediction that you may have remembered a while ago, in fact probably exactly 12 months ago, that I said that Experience Builder was going to be the way of the future, in that we were all it is the greatest thing Esri have ever made, and we're all going to be using Experience Builder. I've sort of forced that opinion on everybody, and absolutely everything we do is an experience builder. What you're seeing just here is an amazing creation that the great Willie Gamble, who now does all of my hard work and I just sit here talking about it, he creates things like this amazing experience build just here. So this is for the Bay Conservation Alliance, and instead of just giving them the story maps like we normally do, map series story map, so they can click through and see their dashboards, they get all this in an interface. So they land on their landing page just here, and they want to see what's going on with their monitoring, for example, and rather than just getting, you know, just a little bit of a dashboard, of course, they get everything that's been running through all these external processes on the Arc Pro schedule modeler, which we are using a hell of a lot these days to calculate things like how much percentage they're getting inside and outside their control areas with their tracking tunnels and such forth, and calculate, you know, if they've got so many prints here and so many prints there, how many they checked, what are the trends over time, and that type of stuff. And as per usual, we're out there trapping rats a hell of a lot, and so these guys are doing that. They're using field maps, obviously, because who uses collector anymore? So they're out there using field maps, but they're also entering data in these crazy things that we've come up with, which is, this is a trap data entry. You look at this, that's just a web app builder. I've seen that before. That's a dashboard template web app builder. But what we've done with these things is, once again, we're using the processes, the external processes that are running quite frequently. Because what we're doing with these things is we're saying, okay, so say you want to enter trap records for all of these things here, you can just grab this and you can go, yeah, all of those traps, they were set. Because I'm doing such a great job out there in the field at the moment, I don't need to go through and go, that was set, that was sprung, that was set. Because they're all just set, because these guys are doing such a good job that most of them have got rid of all the rats. Like here at Teddy, they've got really, really, really low rat numbers. And so then if they wanted to just say, I checked this trap on this date and the trap was set, then they can go down and they can go bing and they can go save. This is actually live, so I'm not going to stuff up their data by pressing this right now. But the trick is this little thing down the bottom here which says append me. And if that's on yes and they click send, that's going to send all those records through. It's going to go through an Arc Pro scheduled model, which is running rapidly and looking for that append me. And when it actually does find an append me, it goes, right, gotcha, I'll put you through now. And then it will send it through to your trapping dashboard like that, and these will come up here automatically. So faster data input. And yeah, we just throw regular web app builder apps in there as well, so they can move around their traps and that type of stuff. All this inside this beautiful experience build, and embedding forms and all sorts of things. Don't have time to go into it at the moment, but what I did want to show you is this tiny little job that there's a guy called Sam Stevens at the Esri user conference. The last time we got together for real in person was like a couple of years ago. This guy called Sam Stevens came up to me and he said, I'm thinking about making something for pest plants. And we got talking and we had lunch there at the user conference there in Auckland, and we're eating, and I said, yeah, I think we can do that. And so I drew this thing up for him. I said, is this what you're talking about? And I stood it on a whiteboard. He goes, yeah, that type of thing. Yeah. And so I said, yeah, well, you know what we could do is, we could use record tables, and we could use spatial, polygons as spatial records and this type of stuff to see if they're getting bigger and smaller, and the density of the. And he goes, yeah, that's everything. That's pretty much everything I wanted to build. So we're planning this, and I said to Sam, what I'll do is I'll publish this feature service, which I'm pretty sure is gonna do the job. So you just need this basically. It's just this hosted feature service, and you got your pest plant points, and then you've got underneath that you got your related records, but you've also your related polygons. You see, so the polygons can get bigger and smaller, but they're always related to these pest plant points. And he said, yeah. That seems simple. That's the type of thing we can do. I said, we'll get onto that. And then, of course, one thing leads to another. Oh, you know what we also need to do? We need the properties in there. Oh, and a couple of Survey 123 forms would be good as well. And I said, well, you can't make a system without MVJs. And so we'll put a couple of MVJs in there, but of course they can't be taken offline. So we're going to have to write some processes to take the MVJs offline. Hey, have you heard of this thing called Tracker over here? We'll just throw a bit of Tracker in as well. Hey, did you hear what's going on with Quick Capture these days? It's getting really fast now, and we can put all these little we'll put Quick Capture in as well, just in case we need it. What about all the reference layers? Yeah, we'll put those in there as well, of course. And have you guys heard what's going on with workforce at the moment? It's really taking off. We better put a couple of workforce layers in there as well. Okay, then. Also, what web apps do we need? Oh, just this one. How many dashboards? Oh, I don't know, 10 dashboards, a couple of web apps. How are we going to organize this? Well, we're going to put it all through your experience build at the bottom here. So this obviously is insanely complicated, but when you actually open it up, it looks like this. This is an experience build, and this is everything that you saw going on there behind the scenes. Obviously it needs quite a few instructional videos, so they all pop up like this. But if you want printable instructions there as well. Now obviously you need QR codes, because you're going to have to launch all of these apps. You can't just go looking for them. You've got to launch them on your mobile device. And you're also going to want to be putting in data on desktop as well. And then there's a hell of a lot of data going in there and coming out, and so you're going to need several dashboards. And there's a hell of a lot of people out there looking for these pest plants as well. So we're going to have to be able to put filters on our dashboards by species and by catchment, and be able to see what properties have got compliance records and that type of stuff. But there's a lot of contractors as well. We've got to try and keep track of where everyone is. Well, obviously Tracker's a great idea for that as well. But how do the contractors know what property they're supposed to be going to next? And I said, aha, that's where workforce comes in. And they said, that's amazing. So workforce, you can just tell someone to go someplace. Yes, and it's almost ready to go. It almost works inside field maps. So what we did, we just made workforce. We made a feature service for workforce, and we've got it all ready to go, so that when they actually do get workforce inside field maps, someone will just be able to click on it and go, I'm going to that property and I'm going to inspect it, and I have found that this property is compliant or not compliant, and these are the weeds that we've got on those properties. And then of course someone's gone, oh yeah, but what about when we actually do the reports and we have to actually give the inspection reports to the people? This is a lot of fake data here. I wouldn't actually show anyone's real property. That's why there's so many different colors just here. You can see there's a whole heap of pest plant points here and some polygons which are supposed to represent how big the infestation is. And so if you wanted to give a report to a landowner, how are you going to do that? And obviously you could take a screenshot and you could say, hey, this is your property, this is what we found, probably should do something about it. Of course, that's too simple. You have to use a data-driven dashboard to do this stuff, because you can, not because you should, because you can. And so when you click on this button here, it'll launch something like this, which is going to give you all your photos on the right hand side that you've taken of the property, and it's going to give you all of the infestations that you found there. And of course, because you can, you're going to put a little widget in there that when you click it, it's going to actually open up Google Maps on their phone or on their computer, so that the punters, the people without ArcGIS, can actually locate the weed points that you've found out there. So we've got this whole thing working, and people want to jump in there and start using it. And I'm like, don't put any data in there yet. It's all nice and clean and it's all working perfectly. Don't put junk data in there, type of stuff. So, well, what do? We need to be able to use this thing. So, as the old saying goes from the same movie, why would you just build one system when you could build two for twice the effort? And so there's a magic button just over here on this pre-prod. It still makes me laugh to think about it. And if you hit this button over here, nothing happens. It just refreshes and it looks like exactly the same system, because it is exactly the same system. This is the pre-production environment, and everything you do inside the system is absolutely identical to what happens in the authoritative system. And you can go in here and play as much as you want and create fake data, and then of course what it does is each night it deletes all the fake data and then resets itself. And if you're happy and you have said, yeah, right, okay, I know how this system works now, I'm ready to use it real time, then you hit this button again, and you're in the authoritative system. But yeah, so pretty much making an identical system just so people can practice is a great idea. It worked out actually really, really well. So I'm looking at all this thinking, oh my God, what have we created? And as normal, the phone rings. Scott Campbell goes, hey, you got a second? I've just got my hands on some software. I'm like, good, because that's what we need, is some more software, because I'm really not utilizing what you've got already. And he said, no, I've got Velocity. Do you want to have a go? I'm like, oh yeah, absolutely, let's do that. Because I was obviously thinking this for a while. We've got all these little bits and pieces, these processes running everywhere. But it's not neat. Like, it's not running in the ArcGIS 9 environment. We've got things going off to ArcPro, and we've got things on computers that are whirring away in the background. We've got the GeoEvent server, we've got FME, which is not even really ArcGIS. And so he said, send me some data. And so I sent him some of this stuff that we're doing. Is we're creating fake data all the time because we need to experiment with these systems, and also people just want to have a play. And so what I was hoping that you guys could do to just create some fake data for me is to, and hopefully I can share this link, it'll be somewhere in this video, is that you can jump on to the Ethos Environmental, what I'm just going to be calling the Conservation Group Data Portal right now, because we're just making this as I'm speaking. And you can have a go at entering trap data and bait data and putting in monitoring data for your tracking tools that you're putting in your backyard, and then you will be able to see the analysis of what you're doing here on this experience build with this beautiful firefly symbology that Willie's put together just here. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be just putting as much data we can into Velocity to see what we can do with this thing. Hopefully what you'll be able to see is that Millie and I will be running around Whenua, because one of the things we really want to be able to do with this system is to be able to use some of those tools like Tracker, run it through the Velocity system, so we can do all those things which our systems are clunkily doing as they go along. And I'm really hoping that when we actually get our head around Velocity and we do actually get access to it, we don't have to go so external anymore. We can do things inside ArcGIS Online. I have no idea how that's going to turn out. Hopefully by the time this video, you're actually seeing this video, you'll have a better idea than I will. So hopefully you'll be seeing me running around Whenua at the moment, running through Velocity, seeing it on this dashboard just here, and seeing some kind of live data happening in this presentation. If you're not, I don't have connectivity on Whenua, or this whole idea just didn't work. It's 5 AM on a typical Wednesday morning in the life of a spatial industry professional and his dog. Stay there, Millie, stay there. Say hello. That's it. We're at the airport, that's right, yes. Tauranga Airport. On the way to the next great adventure. So 2 domestic flights, and 8 hours later we're finally at the very, very end of New Zealand. Obviously this is Bluff just here. Behind us here somewhere is a helicopter that we're going to jump on to get out to our final destination, being Whenua.
Kia ora koutou. Yes, we've finally made it out here to Whenua. We are deep in the forest of the island at the moment. Unfortunately, we can't tell you exactly how deep we are or exactly our location because, as mentioned before, this island has some pretty special birds on it. And the location of those birds is super top secret. And yes, we have seen a couple already. So we can't give away our exact location, unfortunately. So we're going to give you a bit of update as we're going along, but unfortunately we won't be able to track us live, but we'll let you know exactly what we can as we're exploring this incredible island. Okay, time for Scott's fieldwork pro tips. If you're using field maps out in the bush, do yourself a favour, get one of these, an iPad Mini 5. I've been using this since 8 o'clock this morning, and as you can see, it's still got 99% battery, and I'm way deep in the forest and down south where you would expect there wouldn't be a lot of satellites. It's still getting 5 meters accuracy, and as you can see, there's tracker doing its job inside field maps as it's supposed to. These things work great. Anyone looking at this situation now would think that it's kind of weird, but the reason why there is a dog on my shoulders is because this is a seal colony just here in the forest. Not many people know that the New Zealand seals actually hang out in the forest, and this little dog, rightfully so, is petrified of them because they're like big, angry, vicious, semi-aquatic dogs that could attack you. Shit, there's one just there. So we're going very careful at the moment. Another pro tip for you, when people say, oh, I can't use your fancy pants app that you made because my mobile phone will get wet and touchscreen will stop working. Well, get yourself one of these. This is a Blackview 9600E. It's a pretty simple phone, it's pretty cheap, but when it gets wet, the screen still works. So you can still do everything that you normally do with a screen when it's wet. It can be pissing down with rain and it still works. It's funny, with all the tech we have at our disposal now, I'm still out here manually servicing a Dock 200 with a dog. You can't beat some of the old school tools still. Well, we're coming to the end of another big day searching another, it looks like pest-free island. So far it is, at least, anyway. Millie seems to think so. Millie, is this one pest-free? Okay, we'll keep looking for a while. But we'll see you guys back on the mainland when we get there some stage. Hopefully, we can meet up in person. Till then, stay safe. Okay.